My name is Jahyun. I currently with the Florida Atlantic University, which is located in beautiful South Florida, near the Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is one of the go-to destination for the college students for their spring break. So we have a little bit of fever in the seashore nowadays. This is the spring break time for most of the higher education institution across the U.S. So all the beaches are now packed with college students, especially after the pandemic. Now U.S. is more of out of this pandemic period. So university students and the college students is pretty much gone crazy nowadays. So hope you guys had the same moments soon. And I think I heard through the Korean news that the current new numbers are quite high, surprisingly high. But I think it's going over the peak soon. So hopefully we can have the times and leave without the mask soon. All right. So let's get started. Thank you for very generous introductions, and I'm very honored to present your class, Professor Koo. And again, I'm very happy to present our work by my colleagues, including Professor Koo in this class, and which was recently published in one of the major journal in the information system side. And probably I'm going to soon share the my research journey since I joined this faculty. And the tourism area is one of the recent development and it came to my life, which I fascinated with. And I always envy the folks, including you guys, in the tourism domain. And because I found that this is one of the exciting research area as well. Okay, I personally in love with traveling, but at the same time, I came to realize research on the tourism topic is also another intellectual pleasure. So again, I'm very happy to share the what I learned from this the study with you. Okay, let's get started. And the structure of this presentation will be like this. And I'm going to just share about 5 minutes to talk about me and my research profiles, and then try to making sense of this travel, because this is the this studies touches on very fundamental issues and the concerns of travel. Tourism. So I have to start by making a little bit of sense of travel. Of course, the making sense of travel basically means I need your help. So all the class is in the same level and make the same level, and then we're going to talk about the some issues in generic issues in travel, and where we'll have to find the solutions to deal with this kind of generic concerns in tourism. Okay, and then I'm going to get to a little bit of academic mode where I'm going to explain the research model, and followed by the findings with data sets. And then I'm going to share some implications and findings I learned through this research study. And then hopefully we can share some thought again to look forward, and what we want to do afterwards. Okay, in terms of future research. Okay, so this is a little bit of journey in my research aspect of my life. And back in 2001, when I finished the ABD stage in my PhD program, I was lucky to find a job, and I got a job as a associate assistant professor. And at the time, I was mainly working on my dissertation, doctoral thesis, which is about the IT outsourcing. So I'm still doing it on this topic, and most of my study is pretty much behavioral studies, and a research method that I'm using is quite vary across different types of study design and a topic, but mainly for behavioral studies, I use the survey method, and also in terms of analytics, I use the structured equation modeling and the regressions, and at times I use the econometric estimations, which is quite complicated, but it is kind of something coming, and the all disciplines is now trying to embrace the some kind of a counterfactual approach in research, where we want to explain, even if we are dealing with the cross-sectional data, some way top journal research now develop their interest in in the papers that explains some kind of causalities among the constructs. So I found that econometric estimation is the something that we'll have to pursue and have to use. Okay, so I use that, and the since I joined this faculty and around back in 2008, departments ran into some kind of serious issues at the time. All the dot-com bubble bursted out, and that impacted the academia as well, and the university run into some kind of a slump, especially in the information systems area. So my departments did some kind of studies for future growth of this department. I would say it's not the future growth; it is more of a survival at the time. So trying to studies what should be the directions from that point on, and we department found two areas to focus on, and one was the business analytics, and the other was the cybersecurity. So I think we are quite fast and early leaders in this domain. So I think we did a right decision at the time, and now we are quite enjoying the analytics and the cybersecurity aspect of these programs, and where students the enrollment is quite high. And thanks to this kind of turning points on that year, and my research areas also changed to focus on some cybersecurity area, and also using the analytic techniques. I'm getting into the space of the healthcare analytics, and a bunch of hard data is coming from the healthcare industry, and the healthcare industry is always hungry for the this type of capabilities and some insights driven by the data, not by conjecture or anecdotal issues. So using those modes and pushes from the industry, I was quite enjoyed in terms of publishing my pieces in the top journals. Again, as I getting into some health analytics space, and I'll not only need to deal with structured data, which is the number but also I have to deal with the lots of unstructured data, which is the text, sometimes image. So I had to learn. It is quite, now I'm saying with this smile, but at the time it was painful for me to learn some new techniques, okay, which is the machine learnings and some way to analyze the some text and contents using the natural language programming and that kind of stuff. So, but it's quite a enjoyable and a rewarding experience. And back in 2017, although Professor Khu and me been friends for a while, but back in 2017, Professor Khu asked me to join in the tourism research area, and he was the leading couple special issues in top journals. So I again happy to join this new research area, and also so far, and it's been my pleasure, and it's been a very rewarding journey with this topic of tourism and interest and IT. And at the time, smart tourism was the kind of a keyword and a buzzword in this tourism domain. So I took advantage of it and trying to understand this technology, smart tourism technology from the IT point of view, and try to mingle with the tourism topics. And here we are. And this is the one of the piece out of those trial at the time. So as I said, let's make a little bit of sense of the trouble. So here, as I put it as a title of this slide, let's chat a little, okay? And the I know this might be a little bit, it could be insulting to you, and because I'm going to use the this kind of slides for master level and a PhD level, but I just wanted to add some understanding from you as well. So we sometimes talk about the certain issues, and we just try to define what love is to me, what travel is to me, and something like that. Okay, so in this type of a mode and a mood, and I'd like to hear from you, and as it comes to you, then how you want to say what the travel is. Travel is.
Wow.
To me, travel is like this, like love is like this, right?
Okay, let me try first, because I'm a little shy guy. When I was 20s, I traveled by myself, backpacking, traveling, finding myself, and I thinking about myself as an independent person in the world. That was travel to me. Now travel is a job. So I'm trying to explain it by word, not by body. So it's a bread to me, job.
This is funny. I'm getting into a new research project where I'm trying to, again, getting into the deeper understanding about tourism, and where I read the bunch of psychological studies, and what actually drives the people to think and plan and actually do the travel. Okay, one of the things is the people try to identify true of me. Okay, what is the real authenticity of me? So sometimes people see that through their very mundane, routine day-to-day life. I don't see any true me in my life. I don't see any meaning of life. I don't feel any power in me and things like that. So I'm trying to find I just want to find myself through this travel. So I think that's one of the drivers for travel, tourism motivations. And I think that this is was the case for Professor Koo. And anyone else to share what travel is to me? Why do I travel?
For me, travel is being away from what I know every day.
Could you say that again? I wasn't able to see. I don't see.
For me, travel is being away from what I know every day.
Okay, so basically, you want to away from the day-to-day routine and in daily life, right? I'm getting sick of the unchanged life. Okay, all right. What else? Don't be shy. It's time for you to say. Hi, Fox.
We are Koreans.
All right.
Shy.
All right.
Sabine, where are you from?
I'm from Denmark.
Oh, Denmark.
Denmark is shy.
Not really.
Speak up.
Speak up then.
For me, travel is when you go to an area that's not your residence, even if it's a town nearby, as long as it's not where I live, then I will see it as a travel.
Great, great. So again, by your definition, travel is away from what you are familiar with, what you reside, where you reside in. So you away from the, your normal routine, normal space, and then you consider that as travel, correct?
Yeah, but even if I was like working in a nearby city and I would be going there, commuting there every day, so I would know that area as well, but I would still see it as a travel. Like, for example, in Denmark, I live in Odense. There's a nearby city. If I drove there every day for work, I would still see it as a travel, even though I was used to it. Okay. It's just like a place that's not my home. That's what I see as a travel.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. By the way, the Copenhagen is in Denmark, right?
Yeah, it's the capital.
Yeah, that's the capital, and which I'll be visiting this December.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, it will be cold. Bring a lot of
gonna be my
warm clothes.
It's going to be my first visit in Copenhagen, but I'm very excited. I start planning already.
Oh, really? If you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me.
Right. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Let me hear one more.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Professor. Yes. I'm from Vietnam.
All right.
Actually, I have been engaged in like educational, like teaching at university for probably more than 10 years, and it's kind of boring job.
Yeah.
Because we try to renew everything, refresh everything. But I mean, when we come to the class every day and we take the same subject, and we sometimes we become very boring with our like daily life routine, and we want to change, we want to make something different. So that's why I try to look for some kind of new experience, this kind of novel experience. Yeah, something totally different. So by doing so, I feel refreshed. I feel motivated. And so when we get back to our work and we feel that we want to do something at our best. So I think that maybe a lot of you may have the same motivation like me.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So, based on here's the definition of the travel, and again, there's a certain commonality, okay, across the definition shared by you, and the one keyword is away from the where we are very familiar with, or home, or normal life. And sometimes we want away from those, the environments because we want to, identify myself, authentic me. Sometimes we want to have some kind of a limited temporal the brackings, which will we hoped to serve as some kind of positive stimuli for us to better move forward in the future. So those are the common aspects of this trouble. So based on this understanding, my definition is quite same. So I read the one of the books, and I think this is very famous books for the folks in the tourisms, and the Uri talks about travel, and he says the travel involves the notion of a departure, which is away from where we live in a normal space, normal surrounding, normal work, okay, home. So we do this, departure intentionally for a short period of time for limited breakings with the established routines and practice the everyday life. So hope that allows one sense to engage with a set of stimuli, okay, that contrasts with the everyday and the mundanes. So I think this is the perfect for me to say that this is what travel is. So I started from this, sentence, and I try to understand what are the generic, intrinsic concerns resides in this, travel then. And a departure from the normal or surrounding home, that necessarily brings some kind of uncertainty to me. Because when I just living in the very normal life, as if we are just following the kind of time clocks, and the time clocks is very accurate, and there is no deviation whatsoever. So when we live in this kind of time clocks, and we know even when we walk by the streets, walking down the streets, with these eyes closed, if this is the kind of things that I do every single day, then I expect what's going to happen on these streets, right? So it is pretty much certain, okay, in that context. But when we travel, again, when we depart from that settings, now everything's uncertain. So that departure brings some problems or concerns with uncertainties. But at the same time, the reason why we want to break this very comfortable, very well certain environments is because we want to enjoy that uncertainties, unknown things, something different from my daily routine. So travel brings the two faces, and that two faces is come through that kind of uncertainties. And uncertainty in the generic context, like when we use the terms uncertainty in the economics and the business, especially finance, the uncertainties usually brings the negative connotations. Uncertainty is not good. Oh, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. That basically means stock market crashes. Okay, there's a lot of uncertainties in the weathers. That basically means we're not quite sure about the amount of a harvest this year, which means negative, right? So typically the uncertainties bring some kind of negative connotations. However, way I see this travel with this concept of travel by the Ori, that departures necessarily bring us concept of uncertainty, but it brings two phases of uncertainties. One, really, it brings some kind of a negative feeling of the uncertainties. When we plan a travel, we try our best, but sometimes things go sideways. We just try our best to make arrangements and buy the some of the the tickets for attraction in the foreign cities and things like that. But when we actually come there, and we sometimes I find that the reservation is gone wrong, and sometimes the ticket that I bought is not the one that I actually dreamed about, things like that. So this is the kind of a negative side of uncertainty in travel. But at the same time, because of this uncertain matters, okay, uncertain nature of these travels, we also enjoy some of positive side of uncertainties. And we are quite enthusiastic and we are thrilled about something that are different from my daily routines. I think that's the reason why we want to go for travel. So these are the two phases of the uncertainty in travel. So let's talk about the one by one, and let's talk about the positive side of the uncertainty first. Now, when we plan for travels, and then we go in a variety of different style. Sometimes some people like some kind of freedoms while they are traveling, so they just simply became backpackers. Okay, and sometimes people in some kind of a very fancy way of doing the travel. So go to the resort areas, enjoy all kind of luxuries and high treatments, okay? And sometimes people, plan the trips to experience the cultures and emergent aspect of the certain cultures in a certain area. Sometimes people plan it, and that's me. I sometimes plan my trips for food. So I really like foodie trips. And recently, because everybody is in the same boat nowadays, and after the pandemic, we are quite caught up, okay, by all these government rules and the limits. So we can do the travel. So only way that I can do at this moment is to plan the trips. So I recently developed a keen interest in visiting Hokkaido in Japan. And especially, I like the snow, and I like snow world. What Hokkaido's can provide, right? So I try to plan a trip. So I just watched all the vlogs in YouTube's, and all the videos and the Hokkaido tourism authorities provide. So I ended up, putting my, attraction spots in the Google map and the a specific place to visit, things that I wanted to do there. And I'm kind of done, planning that trips. And at times I just checking my Google map. And when I look into this Hokkaido area, everything that I just saved in the Google map is all the decent restaurants. I didn't find any fun in the attraction there. I only interested in the all kind of food and the restaurants there. So something like this. People have different types of style. But again, reason why we want to do this travel is because I want to find something new, unknown, unexperienced. So part side of uncertainties actually drives some specific touristic behavior, which is novelty seeking. I want to go to some place with something in a way that I like. So as you can see in this picture, it looks like they're friends together. and they trying to follow some kind of a cultures and some kind of a theme-driven itineraries. And some people, they just want to be part of the wilderness. And I want to find the specific spot that allows me to take some kind of a excellent pictures. Why? I just want to post in the Instagram. That's the whole my purpose. So as you can see in these pictures, and this is quite commonly see when I travel nowadays. And the people, I don't know, this is the kind of generation things, but I can also find this kind of things from my two daughters. By the way, I have two daughters. They're in the early 20s, and when they take a picture of themselves, they don't take a picture of the front side of them. Instead, I'll always ask me, "Hey, Dad, can you take a picture of me in the back?" And they just put the position like this. And I don't know, this is the trend or not, but again, looks like this is the some way that the people enjoy the travel. As you can see in this set of pictures, again, they rather trying to experience the local culture and extreme. It is a little bit extreme, but as you can see, SpaceX now trying to give the people of the new experience, totally new experience, outer world, as it literally saying, right? So travel gives the some kind of opportunity for the peoples to find the novelties, okay? Seeking for novelty, and this is possible because the travel gives and brings us some kind of uncertainties, okay, which is the positive side. But at the same time, as we discussed, tourist brings you some kind of worries. When I plan the travel, and when I set up the itineraries for especially for my family, because as a head of a household, I have to do my best to make this trips as convenient, as comprehensive, as safe as possible. So I always in a hurry, to set it up, everything. But at the same time, when I do this kind of travel plans, then I always worry. So this is the because this is the dynamic nature of the travel. It involves all kind of pre-planning stuff in the reservations on the hotels and attractions, and also we have to buy the air tickets and all the transportation arrangements and all those kind of things, and that gives you lots of pressures, and that becomes my worry. So negative side of the uncertainty brought me some kind of a tourist worries. As you can see, it starts from the airport when we start checking in, okay, with the kiosk. Sometimes this is very nowadays everybody is quite used to it, but in the beginning of the this kind of kiosk auto computer aided check-in system, and it gives a lot of pressures and worries. And also when we come to the destinations, then sometimes our plan itineraries go sideways, and they always we pissed off and calling into the host of the in the lodgings or hotels and that kind of stuff. And also middle of the travels, we get lost, or sometimes as you can see in these bottom pictures, when we rented a car at destination cities, and sometimes that car is broken in the middle of the road, then that's very difficult. It's very difficult to communicate, first of all, because of the language barrier sometimes, and it's very difficult to take care of the all kind of consequences out of this kind of troubles and things like that. So those are the some kind of worries, okay, as a tourist have, before the trips, when we plan trips, and also we have this kind of worry while we are on the go. So those are the some kind of a negative side of worries. And I came across the one articles that was published back in 2009. That article is basically tries to identify what kind of worries tourists have commonly. And as you can see here, and stay awake. I don't know. I visited a couple of cities in the European countries, and while I'm staying there, while I'm visiting those cities, I'm supposed to look around the some kind of beautiful sceneries and some historic buildings and enjoy the food and all those kind of things. I did, but at the same time, part of my energies always set aside to watch the people around me. Why? Because some of the cities are very notorious about, pickpocketing, petty crimes, and all that. So I have to always be sensitive to my the pockets, all my belongings, and at the time, I brought my two daughters, and they were very young at the time, so I have to take care of them. And when people come close to them, and then I have to protect them and things like that. So that's kind of tired and exhausted, and that's the number one in this table. Stay awake. I think I was not the only one. Everybody, as a travelers, the tourist, has this kind of same worries. Okay, crime, accidents, petty crimes. Something may go wrong, and we always worry. Okay, and get lost, and sometimes yeah.
This slide shows that the types of worries 10 years ago.
Right.
I would like to ask you at this moment, 2020, with the smartphone and a bunch of apps, tell us where to go, the guide and the Google Map, whatever. Probably the get lost. We don't consume anymore. So what do you think?
Yeah, that is very true. I think that's the reason why I was motivated to do this study, right? Those are this kind of tourist worry. And I agree that many of them are still works for the most of tourists. But some of the things is no longer is the key part of this tourist worry, because we have smart tourism technology nowadays, and smart tourism technology pretty much takes care of the, as you said, and we were very much worried about getting lost while we are in the foreign cities. And at the time, we only Bible for us at the time is the map, paper map. And when we rented a cars, always I have to have a person who I can trust in reading the map, and it help me to drive the foreign road. But not anymore. No matter where I am, I'm using the Google Map now, and Google Maps automatically fits the Google Map in their locations, okay, with their own specific rules, traffic rules, and all those kind of things. So I'm no longer worried about this getting lost, right? So that's where this studies is studied, and I think that today's technologies is enough to take care of those kind of worries. Okay, so that's the reason why. So thanks for your comments, and again, that pretty much explains why this paper is important in year 2022. Okay, so tourist worries, based on the literature reviews, tourist worries, significantly affects the tourist travel experience and satisfactions, of course, negatively, right? On the other hand, and when the tourist, seeking for, novelty, that usually increase or enhance the, tourist, experience and their satisfactions. So we are juggling these two different things. So I found that as far as the travel concerns, okay, as a tourist, there is some sort of tensions between the worries and the novelty seeking. This is the kind of a generically driven by the uncertainties in travels. So people somehow need to deal with this kind of tensions between worries and the novelty seeking. So I just want to understand that when the tourists suffer from this kind of tensions, some way they have to find their own way to deal with this kind of tensions. And what if today's technology, especially technologies that is widely used in the tourism sectors, are here to help them to balance these tensions. And I think this is the good way to present and identify and verify and prove that technology is there to handle this kind of a generic, okay, intrinsic concerns in travel. So this is where I studied. And based on psychologies, based on tourism literatures, they also talk about this kind of conflicts. And in individual psychologies, and when the individuals face such conflicting expectations, okay, positive side and negative side of when they have to make decisions, then this facing this kind of tension is considered aversive. People hate about it. I hate this kind of tensions, and it's because they have to recruit the significant way of controlling in terms of resolving this conflicts. And also in tourism also already talks about resolving this conflict is kind of a discounting the value of travel experience because of this cognitive and emotional control. Always brings some kind of subjective cost, meaning that it tends to lead to some kind of biased choice. And I think this I have to agree with it. So when I have this kind of tensions, and my wife's very sensitive to this kind of tensions, and she hates about uncertainty. So although I have to, my studies is more toward seeking novelty, unknown, something unknown. I really enjoyed something unknown in the foreign city. That's pretty much the reason why I wanted to be in the foreign city. But my wife hate about it. So I have to compromise, okay, by myself. So I have to make some kind of a choice that is not in favor of me, but in favor of my wife or in favor of my entire family, safeties and things like that. So the conflict and tensions between these two worries and novelty seeking is not good. Some way we'll have to find the way that towards the simultaneously address the two intrinsically conflicting, uncertainty-driven attributes of travel. So I try to understand how smart tourism technologies can be used in the context of this cognitive effort involved in resolving such conflicts. So I just brought this STT as some sort of a rescue, okay, in these situations. So as we all know, I think you guys use the digital technologies, smart technologies better and more than I do, because I'm a generous is getting close to the end of the life, but you guys are now getting to pick up your life. So you guys are very familiar with these technologies, and sometimes I have to. It is kind of shame on me, but I'm an IT faculty, but at times I'll have to ask my two daughters and some kind of help when we figure things out, especially the apps and smartphones and things like that. And even I recently bought the TV sets, which is very brilliant. And sometimes it asks me to do something, but I couldn't figure it out. So I always call my wife, honey, can you help me? And can you figure things out on this TV? I'm an IT faculty, but I can't do that, right? But anyway, yeah, smartphone technology is good. Nowadays, we use the, as Professor Koo mentioned, we use the Google Map, wherever we go. And that gives us lots of good guides on the local. And also it's all kind of smart tourism, especially social media side, vlog, vlog, bloggings and the vlogs and all nowadays, virtual reality, metaverse, which is fantastic. I don't know whether you have experienced the metaverse released by islands, tourism industries. It was fancy. It'll let you experience some kind of immersions while you're sitting in front of the computer, because you feel like you are already in the certain cities and the road and some of the hot spots and the islands. So I can see it, and then when I just turn around, I can see the other side of falls. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be the view of this. I haven't seen that in the picture, but things like that. So this is the good guys for me, and I can definitely better plans with those kind of help. So STT is very good. So one of my previous studies, we identified, Professor Gu and I identified the 4 distinct attributes of the smart tourism technologies, which allows lots of information to tourists, and also allows tourists to access instantly, simultaneously, whenever we need. And also smart tourism technology allows interactive with the sometimes the DMO, sometimes the host, sometimes a specific attractions. So it's very much allow us to interact with the those kind of stuff. And also the tourists who already been that destination that I'm heading to, they posted up their experience there. That smart, social media allows me to interact with that prior tourist, and I can ask them to share their experience further more than they posted, things like that. So this is the good about the interactivity of the smart tourism technology and personalizations. Again, it allows us to personalize our plans. So that was not available without this smart tourism technologies. So that pretty much bring us the some the help in balancing between the tension between the worries and the novelty seeking. So
okay, here's a question.
Sure.
Back to the slide. Actually, your team developed this sub-concept of smart tourism attribute, informativeness, accessibility, interactivity, and personalization, which is quite crucial to travelers who need information, who need access to the destination, place, and interaction between Airbnb host and guest, and personalization such as who I am, as a 40 and a man, something like that. But as far as I know, the tourism researchers and professors haven't developed this kind of concept before. But how you could be able to develop this very important concept for smart tourism? Is because of you coming from MIS faculty? As I guess so. Because this concept, 4 different attributes is quite become famous one. And as far as I know, this paper is cited very much in these days because of this core concept.
Yeah, thank you for asking. And the again, thank you for your generous, appreciation for developing this, for core concepts and the core attributes of the smart tourism technologies. I have to agree with you that partly because I rooted in the information systems, and all of my study is kind of trying to understand, what are the attributes of the specific technologies or certain information systems, and the typical way the IS study does is to identify the specific attributes and how that attributes actually the use in solving or achieving or bring some expected outcomes. Okay, so I think this is the part of the style that I was educated in, and so I was my eye was to first of all trying to find what's the key attributes then. Okay, smart tourism. People talks about the smart tourism, and some the papers in the tourism literature talks about specific aspect of cell phones, specific aspect of the social media, specific aspect of destination marketing organizations, information, websites, and that type of things. But when I just done reading and those kind of literature, it came to me that there's some commonalities, although they point and they dig into specific aspect or specific type of technology or social media. When I zoom out, then I can see that most of the papers talks about accessibility. Most of the paper talks about informativeness of the technologies, talk about the interactivities and things like that. So I was trying to some kind of conceptually mappings, what previous studies talks about under the name of the smart tourism. Mm-hmm. So that's the pretty much the reasons why I developed this kind of interest and I ended up finding this. Of course, without your help, I was not able to, put it as nicely in the context of tourism. Mm-hmm. And the terms that I use in the information system is quite different from this. So, with your help, I was able to find this kind of terms, and I think I'm glad to hear that this foundations is now used for the many papers in the tourism area. Okay, thank you.
Okay, because I one more comment. Sure. It's a MIS area. We are the most famous theoretical framework is a TAM, technology mm-hmm. acceptance model, mm-hmm. and Dillon's IS success model. Yeah. But actually, in tourism area related to IT, we mm-hmm. don't have such kind of the rigorous framework or construct mm-hmm. or mm-hmm. the abstract construct and the sub-construct. Mm-hmm. I think this is could be and can be the one famous of a framework of a smart tourism attribute. So in the long run.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks to your encouragement, I'm now launched to develop the new attributes, and from the different theoretical lens, and I can explain, social tourism technologies in terms of the, affordance. I think I shared this with you earlier, and now I'm, more toward the recent emerging technology like virtual realities, the metaverse, augmented reality, which is the quite booming in the tourism industry nowadays.
Yes.
So with this emerging technologies, I kind of felt that I have to develop some of the new way of explaining the attributes of those new emerging technologies.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to now develop these new attributes, and now I'm tentatively name those.
Mhm.
And they, I think that this is the first time to release my idea to this group, this class.
Mhm.
So I'm going to just use the terms the affordance, so presence affordance,
Mhm.
emergent affordance, empathic affordance, and embodiment of affordance. So I'm trying to explain those technologies in terms of those affordance, how that affordance is now actually interact with the tourist's needs. Every tourist has a different needs.
Mhm.
And because of the different needs, the people perceive the value of the technology differently. Some people's, yay about, wow, this is technology that I'm enjoying and I'm in love with this technology. But some people, so what? I don't care, because of different needs, right? So technologies and the attributes needs to be understood based on the user's needs in this context, tourist needs. So I need to bring that. And this attribute, informativeness, accessibilities, and the interactiveness and personalization is very objective way of understanding the technologies. But as I use this and in different studies, I came to see the needs that I need to bring towards the needs in this context. I think that's the better way to understand the technology, what technologies can do to the towards the and the tourisms. So I'm developing kind of a new affordance, I would say, okay, of these smart tourism technologies, and hopefully that works, and that helps the to pave the road for the future studies, okay, and hope you can just sell my idea because you have a good, quite a large networks in the tourism. So I hope that you can help me to enlarge the space in the tourism area. Thank you. Okay, so so pretty much again, this is the kind of a short breakup sessions to hear from you and what you do and what kind of technology, smart tourism technology you use when you plan the trip or when you on the go, okay, in the destination cities. What do you use? What kind of technology do you use?
To me, actually, first time I go to the library or the cafe, and I just unpredictably and certainly I finding a books, and the books tell me some place, some activity related to history, culture, and music, whatever. And then I spotlight, I got that keywords, and then I try to find out the Google, from Google about that keyword. And then I set up to my trip planning for the future. So originally from the analog, the books and the magazines and that kind of stuff, rather than technology itself.
Yeah.
Technology is kind of it's a tool for finding out informativeness.
Yeah. I think that this is it's quite common. So when we visit some kind of the museum in the countries in the European nations, and because this is such a famous and historic buildings, and they always give the tourists some kind of radios, and where they can listen to the explanation about the specific the location of the museums and some the paintings and the sculptures and all those kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is quite common. But now, during this pandemic, there's the one apps is coming, and I think everybody knows this actor Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner's investing in this app development quite a lot, and what it does is, because now when we drive on the road and we use the Google Map, okay, and then we just watch out the sceneries. Oh, wow, this is cool, and this is wow, that building, and the wow, look at the sunset and all those kind of things, right? Now, while you on these trips, on this driving down this road, and you just turn on these apps, and an app is location based. So understand where you are and explain. Look at the right side. There is beautiful the bridge, which has this kind of histories and things like that. Oh, stop! You need to stop and walk out and look at outlooks and with the beautiful cliffs and things like that. And that kind of things is happening now. Mm-hmm. And that is what smart tourism does nowadays, right? Mm-hmm. So likewise, I wanted, anyone else, then you want to share that what you do when you plan using some sort of technologies. Nobody?
Oh,
Sabine?
well,
yeah.
Hi. Well, in my experience, I tend to use YouTube or vlog video as you did, Professor. Yeah. Because it's kind of really live video, so I can see the picture of the tourist area, and yeah, it's really easy to access because YouTube has a lot of information. So correct. Yeah, I tend to use it.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Hitch, as I shared earlier, I'm not crazy about planning the Hokkaido in Japan. And when the YouTuber visited a certain local restaurants, which is not the famous tourist destinations, but that YouTubers is keep encouraging. You should visit. This is not the tourist hot spots, but this is a great place to visit. Okay, you need to plan it in your itineraries and things like that. So. He showed the menus there, because of this not tourist foreign tourist hotspots. There's no English. There's no whatsoever, right? It's all Japanese. I don't know anything at all. Okay, I don't speak Japanese. I don't read the Japanese. So, why I ended up pausing this video, okay, YouTube video, and where the screen shows the menus in Japanese. You know what I did? I quickly bring my smartphones and using the Google Translate, using the picture functions. When I just put my cameras in, is now I can see in English what that is. Oh, that's what I'm going to order then. Okay, something like that. So this is the kind of cool things that I can enjoy with this smart tourism technology nowadays, right? Yes, yeah, I don't know. I think it's all. I just watched almost all the YouTubes about the Hokkaido now. I don't find anything new. But anyway, let me hear from one more. Sabine, do you use any technologies for your travel plans?
Yeah, I guess I do. But when I travel, I guess my style is very different because in Europe, we just follow our parents, if that makes sense, because Denmark is a very cold country. So when we travel, we always go to like South Europe. So we don't like travel a lot around. It's just like every year you go to like Greece, Spain, Italy, wherever. And it's just, you don't really seek it out. You just see, oh, where can we get a flight? And then you just take it. But now that I'm independent,
Good.
for example, with Korea, I used YouTube a lot to see where did I want to go and what did I want to do, because I feel like, for example, with YouTube, you can like actually see the videos, you can see real life experiences, you can see the food better and these kind of things. So yeah, for me, it's just like very, oh, what do I feel like? And then I just kind of do it. Very simple style, I think. I don't, just YouTube and recommendations I use.
I think that's where everybody starts.
Yeah, I don't really do anything more in depth, I think, because like when I travel, I mostly like go to the same places all the time. So it's like I don't do that much new.
Yeah. I'm kind of trying to balance nowadays, and I don't want to miss the towards the hotspots, but at the same time, I'm not getting sick of the getting a stamp from all the hot place or all the foreign tourists visit, and I tend to feel that the folks in that hotspot areas is kind of ripping up the foreign tourists. And I don't see it in a good, I don't feel in the good cultures, and I don't feel in a good authentic cultures in that specific area. It is more of the foreigner space. So now I'm trying to find the more, as I put it in the slides, I trying to find the more novelties. Okay, something that's not famous, but I can be there and hopefully I can find under my own way of enjoying some unknown place. So that's it's kind of deal with me, and whenever you plans, and then you need to balance. Okay, but anyway, I always start with YouTube, and whenever the YouTube show me some place that is not famous, then I always purse it and I find a Google map and then put the point on first. Okay. Something like that. But anyway, thank you for sharing. As we shared, and those are the typical things that we use as a smart tourism technologies. And nowadays, I also use the Instagram a lot, because this gives me I know this is the best shot they had. Okay, out of millions trial, okay, million shots. That's what my second daughter does. But anyway, I'm trying to find very cool pictures, and if the Instagram says that this is where the locations, then I'm trying to search in the Google map. If there's not, then I'm trying to download that pictures and trying to Google search with this picture. Hope to find some specific the location of that pictures and things like that. So something like that is the kind of things that I'm doing nowadays. Anyway, those are the typical things. So here comes the boring part of the this presentation, which is the research model. Okay, so as I explained it to you, and as I tried it to make sense out of the this motivation of the studies, and I see that travel necessarily brings some kind of uncertainties. I think that this is the intrinsic the concept that we have to deal with as far as the travel concerns, because the travel is basically the away, okay, departure from my home, my normal, okay, my comfy zones. So that brings some kind of two phases of the uncertainty, which is the tourist worries and a novelty seeking. As a tourist by myself, I always deal with the two different phases, which is opposite phase. So always feel a little bit of hesitations, leaning one side or the other. I always trying to balance it, which was not easy, and that it's put me in some kind of a stress. So, but nowadays, I depend on the smartphone technology a lot to address and the balance these tensions. And I think this might be true. So why don't I put this in the some kind of research context and collect the data to prove what I'm thinking is true or not. So as you can see, the left-hand side is the predictors, tourist worries, and novelty seeking. As we discussed so far, tourist worries brings the negative concepts and a negative impact on, and the travel transaction satisfaction basically means when you make a reservation in a pre-planning stage. And the worries always brings the negatives. And also these worries brings the entire travel experience. But at the same time, positive side of the uncertainty, which is novelty seekings, will increase my experience and increase my satisfaction at the end of this travel. So this is the givens based on my conceptual understanding. So what now? I really want to see how technologies, especially smart tourism technologies, come in play in addressing or balancing or resolving these tensions. Meaning that I believe that tourism is quite good enough to address the two phases at the same time. When there is a negative concerns in the travels, and tourism is there to dilute this negative feeling, negative worries. But at the same time, same technologies can come play to enhance positive side of the uncertainty, which is novelty seeking, in increasing the travel experience and satisfactions. If this is true, then smart tourism technology is so good. In fact, that in a sense that it can address both sides of the end of the spectrum, which is the good technologies, right? So I really want to test it out with the data collected from these travel clubs. I used the survey method, and using the online survey, I collected the data from the member of the travel clubs. Okay, and following the guidelines when I use this type of data collections through the certain clubs, and I have to make sure the decent size. So I chose because I searched it, and I found the Google search gave me the list of this kind of clubs, and the of those I try to find the largest size, and also whether this clubs is not only for the membership but also is available for public, and I have to check that for the access, and also I want this to be the active clubs, not the the one that developed 1,000 years ago, no activity whatsoever, right? So I try to make sure, and then I collected data. I ended up getting 319 total. Okay, so based on this, I tested out using the this structured modeling. I used PLS, smart PLS. So as you can see, this is what I found. As I expected, tourist worries show the negative relationship, negatively related to travel transaction satisfactions. But it wasn't surprising to me that tourist worries doesn't show that any significant relationship to a travel experience, which is kind of surprising. That's what I actually originally thought. It's going to be negative, but this data didn't support my original thinkings. and the novelty seeking support my idea. Okay, and the novelty seeking is partially related to travel experience. That basically means the greater the tourists seek for unknown and novelties in their travels, the higher the travel experience and satisfactions. So sort of my baselines is now confirmed with the data. Okay, my main interest is how does tourism technologies plays it.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Probably many of the students here not familiar with the methodology yet. I, on behalf of my students, I want to ask you some of methodological part.
Okay.
You said two major primary effects of novelty seeking and tourist worry, which is ambidextrous, balance causal factor.
Yeah.
But my question is, you didn't hypothesize to the travel transaction satisfaction from novelty seeking.
Yep.
That's my first question. Second question, you divide two satisfaction part. One is experience satisfaction, another is transaction satisfaction.
Right.
How those two conceptual variables are different.
Okay.
Different.
Okay.
And third,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
you said the control variable here to here. And can you explain about control variable, why we need in this research model? Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Number one, your question to number one. I didn't hypothesize the relation between novelty seeking and the travel transaction satisfactions. And in contrast, I hypothesized the tourist worries on the relationship to travel transactions as well as the travel experience satisfactions. Because when traveler and tourist have some kind of worries, and that'll impact on making reservations, and that process will again brings the negative the impact as far as satisfaction concerns. The higher the worries the tourist has in making reservations, then they will have the negative. They'll have the decreased satisfactions during the reservations. So I think that's very plausible. So I just did it way, and also that's for sure. Tourist worries, and when the tourists have the lots of worries in destinations, tourism destinations, when they experience. When they are supposed to have fun, when they're supposed to have this some kind of pleasures, in this final destinations, cities. If they have the loss of worry still, then they will experience their satisfaction is going to go down. So I hypothesized it that way, but novelty seeking. Because this is the people who find some kind of unknown, and I believe that will somehow relate it with the entire travel experience and the satisfactions, but I don't think it is related to travel reservations, right?
Yeah.
So when I did the literature review, I couldn't find any hints that possible the linkage between novelty seeking and the transaction, reservations. So I was not able to, because I didn't get any literature support. So I didn't hypothesize it.
Okay.
Second, the second question is about why I separate the dissatisfaction into two different groups. I feel that the satisfactions with the transactions is mostly experienced during the pre-planning stage of the trips, right? And the overall travel experience, probably it'll include the transaction satisfaction as well, but it is more toward when this tour is in final destinations in a place. So these satisfactions might differ. So one is satisfaction and experience had in the gotten in the pre-planning stage before the trips, and the other is more for after travel, after trips, or even during the trips. So I think it'll have the different satisfaction level. Different, it touches on the different areas of the satisfactions. So I thought that it might be better to separate them. And also this partly from my experience in information system always trying to break it, what's the final outcomes and some of antecedents of these outcomes. So that's the again, that was my training. So I again, that's drove me to separate this satisfaction into two. The third question was about control variable. Control variable is very common, and almost all academic studies use the control variable, because when we're trying to explain the phenomena, which is the final dependent variable, no brainer. There are so many different variables may come and impact on the changes, variations in the dependent variable. But I can include the whole 1,000 different factors in one single model, right? That's simply not doable. So, academic practice is to pinpoint on specific aspect of these issues. But we still need to admit that there's other factors that possibly influence and changes and bring an impact on the dependent variable, which is not my interest in this study, but prior literatures, prior studies already identified this is the factor that has a strong influence on this variable. So it is this kind of a way that I can say that I'm very comprehensive in understanding in the literatures, and these are the things that already studied and found that there is a relationship. Although this is not my focal variable, still this is the important to include to be consistent with the literatures. Okay, that's the one reason. Second reason is more on the practical reasons. As we all know, in the regressions, the more variables we include in the regression model, okay, as a predictors, the higher the R-squares, right? Although there is not very related, it's not significant relationship with the dependent variable. When we add it, R-squares going up at least 0.01%, right? So when we see the low R-squares in our the models, and sometimes using the control variables as a way to increase R-squares, is a good practice. But sometimes the people ask about R-squares, and your model R-squares value is very low, and your R-square value is 20%. Come on, this is a social science. Using 2 or 3 variable to explain the variations on the dependent variable, and 3 variable explains 20%. I would say there's a lot. That's a lot, not small. But when the people complain about the, high Oscar, that I would say this is the totally wrong questions to ask her. And that person is very low understanding, very low understanding about the statistics. Because Oscar is not a good questions to ask. Because my research interest is to understand the relationship, not to predict. Okay, so so that's the pretty much the reason why I use the control variable in the study.
Thank you.
Thank you. So based on this, and the probably this is not the interesting picture you want to see, and probably you might want to hear the more the substantive understanding of this findings, right? So here we go. So what is the finding and what is the contribution of this finding? And I would say, I would say there are three good findings from these studies, and I would say these are the contribution of the studies. I think this is the first time to bring the positive side of the uncertainties. Again, I mean, my domain is business, and also do the lots of reading in economics domain. And whenever studies talks about uncertainty, it's a negative concerns. But when the uncertainties come into the space of tourism, not necessarily so. There is a positive side of uncertainty as well, okay? And this study actually framed that two sides of both positive and a negative side of possible uncertainties, okay? So that's the one findings and a contribution of these studies. And also, this study provides nuanced picture of the smart tourism's moderating roles. As I put in the prior slide, I use the term ambidexterity. Ambidexterity is the very, I would say sexy terms in academia, in a sense that it's nicely addressed same concerns on both sides of spectrums. As you can see in these studies, in a negative side and on the right-hand side. But using the one hand, I can touch the negative side and the positive side as well. That's basically the meaning of the ambidexterities. And smart tourism is the one that has that kind of hands that can touch positive side and negative side. As we all know, technology is very objective. Same things for every single situation, every single place. But way that is used by the tourist, it could be the one that could dilute the negative worries. But at the same time, same technologies, the way the based on the way that the tourists use, it could play as enhancers in increasing the satisfaction through the novelty seekings. Okay, so as you can see in this interaction plots, because when we models with the interaction effects, it is always a good idea to create this kind of interaction plots. So left side of graph is the transaction satisfactions we experience before travel when we plan the trips, right? So horizontal axis is tourist worry. When the tourist worries goes up, as you can see, dashed line, okay, solid line is the tourists who use the smart tourism technologies a lot, and the dashed line, dotted line is the groups where the tourists use the smart tourism technologies low, right? So as you can see, whenever the tourist worries goes up, the satisfaction, pre-planning, making reservation stage, satisfaction is going down. But there is a difference between these two groups. high use of a smart tourism technology group, it is smoothly, gradually going down. Okay, satisfaction going down, but smoothly flattening. But when the tourists use the smart tourism's low and one at all, didn't use it at all, then when the tourist worry goes up, satisfaction it's just fell down, right? So that's the difference. That's how smart tourism technologies come in play. In the right-hand side, the y-axis is the entire travel experience. The x-axis is novelty seekings. When the tourist seeking the novelties, unknowns in the destinations, and the overall experience, overall satisfaction is going up. But when that tourist use the tourism technology a lot, that experience satisfactions about those trips is going up very steeply. So this is a way that smart tourism technology works, okay, in moderating the two different things, okay, tourism worries and tourism seekings, okay. When it is going up, and it helps you when novelty seeking helps increase the overall satisfactions. Smart tourism technologies amplifies that satisfaction levels. On the other hand, when the tourism worries bring down the satisfaction experience during the reservations stage, tourism technologies, okay, actually come to whoa, don't worry, I'm here to help to reduce your worries, okay? Believe me, and these technologies will help you make sure that everything's on track, okay? That's basically what tourism technology does. So this one gives you very nuanced pictures how technologies actually works in addressing or balancing these tensions, okay? Third one, again, this is ambidexterities. Technologies, same one, objective. But it can be touches. It can touches in a both side of world. Okay, so this is the good thing about technologies, specifically smart tourism technologies. And I think this is the what I found from the studies, and I would say this is the kind of contributions. Then so what's in it then? Okay, always. Okay, you did lots of studies and you put a lot of efforts. So what's in it? What is the key takeaway with me? Okay, what's in it for me, right? Implications. So I think there is kind of two implications to two different stakeholders. One, tourism provider or vendors. As we found these studies, especially during the making reservation stage, smart tourism is always help tourists reduce their worries. Okay, that basically means when if you are the tourism providers or vendors, okay, like a trip advisors or Airbnbs or whatever, right? Please make sure to use the certain technologies that'll help reduce the worries, okay, when the tourist is making reservations. I think this is happening. So, almost all the reservation system. Let's say nowadays when we try to buy the tickets online using the Orbitz.coms, any other online platforms. When we trying to finalize that's purchase, there is always the in a bold text, you may cancel for free without any restrictions within 24 hours. And I think this is the very good practice. And I think all the tourism industries use those kind of things. And all the hotel reservations nowadays, okay, if you cancel this 2 days earlier than your arrival, will refund everything without any deductions and that kind of stuff. And that's I think I just read one of the Professor Ku's recent publication in JTR. By the way, congratulations. Okay, and you talked about the affordance, hidden affordance, explicit affordance on the online hotel booking, right?
Mhm.
Same here. Technologies is there. Everybody can use it, but the way that people use will make a different story. Let the people see the perceived value or perceived affordance of their technologies. That's all that matters. So implication of the study, hey, we just give you the hint. You can use the technology to reduce the worry of the tourist, which will make more transactions. It will give you more transactions, okay? Right-hand side, this is the some kind of implication to travel bureaus and the tour promoters. This implication has to do with the novelty seekings. And everybody knows when we go to some kind of a destination marketing, the websites, they put always where to go, what to do, what to eat, and that kind of stuff, right? That's very typical. And rather, this is now boring, getting sick of that. A very typical information there. I would suggest that you create one tabs to let previous tourists to post their opinions, their pictures, okay, their guidance. You never know. They found some unique spots in their destinations or a unique way of enjoying this specific attraction in that destination, which you never know as a marketing organizations. And then let the people share their own experience, which will give the more novel idea to the tourists who plan the trips to that specific destinations. And I think that's what I can suggest out of this studies. There are limitations. Okay, there's no such studies without limitations. So I have the limitations, to be honest, and I have to warn that when we read understand these studies, we need to think about the general abilities, because all the data is coming from Korea, and I have to be very careful. Okay, people need to be careful understanding and implying or applying this understanding to the specific context in different countries. Okay, need to be careful. And also, this is the snapshot approach using the cross-sectional data. And we never know that when we tested the same things in some kind of phase-wise of the travels, okay, pre-trend travel, undergo, after the travel, and the people might respond to my questions differently, right? So this is a kind of limitations with the studies. And also in these studies, I use the smart tourism technology as a second order construct. I'm not sure whether you are familiar with these terms, but we talked about the informativeness, accessibilities, and the personalizations and interactivities. Each has its own unique influence in understanding or moderating this relationship. But I just aggregated them as one. So somehow, unique feature of each attributes is somehow, okay, muddied, okay, in my research model. So probably it could be the better to open it up, let each attributes explains exact way of the moderating, okay, interacting with these relationships. And also, it is a single perspective. I asked one single individual respondents to fill out this or participating in this survey. But based on my experience, whenever I plan trips, I always I don't want to use the word fight, but I always argue with my wife. She has a different idea, different level of sensitivity, different level of worries, okay? And things like this. So this understanding, this finding may not truly explains in the context of the group perspective. It is a single perspective, single tourist perspectives. So when the group dynamics come in play, this study may not truly explain the situation. So that's, I would say, as a limit of this study. Of course, that could be the very nice way to extend my study, embracing those kind of a group understanding, group dynamics. So I think that's one of my future study. And another extension of this model is to putting this model as extensions in the context of post-COVID-19 pandemic. And I think during the pandemic, we all experienced the power of the technology during this pandemic. Everything is shut up, social distancing, everything's isolated. Only way that we are able to still connect and interact is through the technologies. I think it will be the same in the tourism industry. So I want to, for sure, to extend this to the context. Yes.
Okay, we have running short of time. Probably students have a question for you about the research context or whatever. Okay.
Sure.
So
okay.
Why don't you make some available time for them to
Sure.
ask?
Sure. Yeah. Let me wrap it up in. Give me 1 minute. Okay. So that's the one thing that I want to extend, and also, as I shared earlier, I want to bring the new emerging technology in this smart tourism context. And I really want to see the impact of the augmented realities and virtual realities and metaverse in the tourism industries. And I already started and trying to see it through some different types of affordance. Okay, and also I put it into a different group in a context. That's my future research. Any comments or questions, suggestions for my future study?
Okay, students, it's a good chance to ask, whatever.
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Sure.
So when you said about the results, can you show me the slides?
Sure. This one?
Yeah, among the variables, you said the self-efficacy. Can you say what self-efficacy means in this research and how you measured it? Mm-hmm. And the second question is, because you're dealing with the technology and the tensions between the worries and novelty, how do you think to the elderly people, maybe technology doesn't ease the tension between that? So I want to know the coverage of generations. Yeah. So yeah, those are my questions.
Yeah. Okay, that's good questions. And I think the self-efficacy is kind of an answer to your generation-related questions. Self-efficacy is basically about how capable I am to deal with the technologies, right? So, although I'm, trying to test it out, moderating effect of, smartphone technology in these basic relationships, and respondents might vary depending on their capability with the technologies. So it is already known that whatever the impact of technologies will vary with their users capability, which is self-efficacies. So it is quite well known. So that's why, as I explained earlier, we need to include those kind of very well-known finding in the prior literature as a control variable, which is not my interest, but it is already well known. So I put this self-efficacies. Okay, but in this data sets, self-efficacy doesn't play a significant role in determining the transaction satisfactions. And also, I use the years of experience with the smart tourism technologies because I know that the more people use this and the comfortable they are, so the more use. So it is more like a virtual cycles, right? So that's why I wanted to control that. Otherwise, people may say that, oh, if you just collect the data from the respondents who are using this smart tourism technology, smart technology, or social media every single day, then this may be so. You got this this result. But if you respondents, majority of respondents happen to don't use smart tourism technology at all, then your models and the results are going to be will differ. That's very true. So in order to handle that, I need to control. So I put these years of experience with smart tourism technologies, right? Did I answer your questions? All right. Anything else?
네, 제가 하나 질문 드려도 되겠습니까?
예.
네, 저는 그냥 한국어로 하겠습니다.
그렇죠.
몇 가지 질문 드리고 싶긴 한데 시간도
예.
제한적이고 다른 학생도 있으니까 제가 한 가지만 여쭤보겠습니다.
예.
저도 이제 결과에서 여쭈고 싶은 건데요.
예.
지금 STT를 어떻게 보면 조절 효과로 해서 이제 영향관계를 보신 것 같은데 그 STT 지금 4가지 속성을 구성해 주셨지 않습니까?
네네네.
아까 전에 구철모 교수님도 말씀하셨지만 이 4가지 속성들이 STT에 어떻게 영향을 미치는지도 보셨는 것으로 판단을 할 때 각각을 측정한 그 항목들도 있었을 것 같습니다. 아마 연구 한계에도 조금 언급해 주시기는 했는데 요 각각의 항목들이 이 각각으로서 조절 효과로서 어떤 영향을 미쳤는지를 만약에 본다면 그것도 조금 재미있을 연구 같은데 그 교수님께서 이제 각각 항목 측정 항목이 있었던 것으로 볼 때 그렇다면 혹시나 PLS로 아까 돌렸다고 하시니까 이제 각각의 영향관계도 혹시나 이제 결과에는 없지만 혹시나 보셨는 게 있었더라면 어떤 결과가 있었는지 많이 알려주시면 좀 재밌지 않을까라는 생각에 여쭤봅니다.
글쎄요, 각각은 보지는 않았어요. 보지는 않았고, 이게 그때 이제 스피디하게 진행된 프로젝트여서 가지고 그렇게 디테일하게는 보지는 않았고, 제 생각에는 그래서 아까도 그 퓨처 스터디에서 말씀드린 것처럼 하나하나 보고 싶어요. 하나하나 다르게 작용할 수도 있을 거고, 어쩌면 또 같이 작용할 수도 있을 것 같고, 모르겠어요. 그게 리서치 아닌가요? 이럴 수도 있고 저럴 수도 있으니까 테스트 해봐가지고 데이터로 결론을 내자. 그거니까 해보고 싶어요. 한편으로는 인포메이티브네스는 아무래도 그 2가지에 다 영향을 줄 것 같고, 액세서빌리티 같은 경우에는 트래블 트랜잭션 사티스팩션에 더 영향을 줄 수 있을 것 같아요. 내가 그 레저베이션 하고 그럴 때 그쪽에다 막 직접 전화해가지고 확인하고 그러고 싶을 때니까 그런 그 테크놀로지가 그런 기능을 줘서 빨리 그 에어비앤비 호스트하고 얘기해서 내가 궁금한 거 물어보고 이렇게 해가지고 할 수 있으면 거기에 더 영향을 줄 것 같아요. 실제적으로 데스티네이션 인포메이션에서는 액세시빌리티가 그렇게까지 큰 영향을 주지는 않을 것 같아요. 뭐 이런 생각을 가지고 있는데 이 스터디에서는 그냥 이거를 뭉뚱그려 가지고 하나의 그 스마트 투어리즘 테크놀로지 애트리뷰트이다 이렇게 가지고 했어요. 그래서 저도 좀 아쉬움이 남아요. 이 부분에 대해서는 하나하나 개별적으로 봤으면 더 재미있는 임플리케이션이 나올 수도 있고, 아니면 뭐 여기 지금 세컨 오더에서 나온 것처럼 거의 동일하게 영향을 줄 수도 있고. 근데 그거는 이제 제가 리터처를 보면서 거기에 맞게 그 가설을 설정을 하고 그거에 맞게 답이 나오는지 서포트가 되는지 안 되는지 그거는 보면 더 재밌을 것 같아요. 그래서 퓨처 스터디에서 제가 새로운 테크놀로지를 더 좀 해보고 싶다고 관심을 두고 싶다고 한 이유가 그 테크놀로지들이 different affordance를 가지고 있을 거예요. 메타버스와 버추얼 리얼리티는 또 다른 테크놀로지거든요. 그래서 그런 것들을 가지고 different affordance가 어떤 테크놀로지에는 작용하고 어떤 테크놀로지 작용을 안 하는지 그런 것들도 더 그 페이퍼에서 한번 보고 싶은 거예요. 여기서 제가 그게 좀 아쉬웠기 때문에 그래서 그런 퓨처 스타일을 제가 계획하게 됐네요. 예, 아주 좋은 코멘트였습니다. 감사합니다.
말씀대로 재밌는 연구가 될 것 같습니다. 기대하겠습니다.
네네. 예.
기대하긴 본인이 써야지. 누굴 기대해? 교수님은 이미 이스테블리시 돼갖고 이게 재미로 하시는 거고 본인 박창원 박사는 지금 이거 갖고 논문을 어떻게 만들까 고민해갖고 빨리 만들어야지. 겸손한 코멘트로 알겠어요. 또 질문 있으신 분?
Any other thoughts?
그 학생들이 질문은 많은데 뭐 영어로 하니까 또 안 할 수도 있고 뭐 본인들의 뭐
한국말로 해도 되는데.
뭐 하는데 안 하면 안 할게요. 뭐 난 궁금한 게 많으니까. 예. 구 교수님 그 우리 둘 다 MIS 전공해서 스마트 투어리즘 이쪽을 하지 않습니까?
네.
그런데 MIS는 경제적으로는 굉장히 에코노믹 레미피케이션 있잖아요. 그리고 이제 월급도 많이 주고 근데 별로 재미는 없고 관광 쪽은 MIS보다는 월급은 적은데 재미는 있고 그래서 그거에 대해서 MIS 관점에서 또 연구 관점에서 어떤 20년 동안 이제 연구를 하셨기 때문에 어떻게 생각을 하세요? 이게 이제 돈도 중요하고 재미도 중요한데. 예.
글쎄요. 지금은 이제 그 돈은 이제 그쪽에 이제 그 커리어와 그 포지션을 어느 쪽으로 가져갈 거냐 그런 문제고, 리서치는 모르겠어요. 저는 이제 그 IS 쪽에서 트레이닝을 받고 IS 쪽에서 이제 연구를 하다 보니까 어떤 때는 그 임플리케이션을 쓰는 데 있어가지고 이거는 너무 내가 만들어서 쓴다라는 생각을 하게 돼요. 뭔가 나이스하게, 굉장히 프로페셔널하게. 근데 얘기 들어보면은 커먼 센스야. 커먼 센스 거래. 그거 다 아는 얘기 아니야? 옛날에 그 MS 쪽에 그 템 마들이라는 게 있어요. 테크놀로지 억셉턴트 마들. 테크놀로지가 있는데 사람들이 그거를 왜 어답하는지, 왜 그걸 테크놀로지 쓰게 되는지. 그러면은 이게 그 쓰기가 편하고 유용성이 보이고 뭐 이런 게 있어요. 그래가지고 그거를 한때 그게 막 유행을 해서 내 큰딸한테 막 얘기해서 아빠는 무슨 연구해 해가지고 이런 연구가 있는데 테크놀로지가 이거는 쓰기가 아주 편하고 그리고 이거 쓰면은 막 이런저런 막 베네핏이 있고 그럴 때 사람들이 쓴대. 그래가지고 그거 커먼 센스 아니야? 이렇게 얘기하는 거예요. 그렇지? 좀 커먼 센스지? 이렇게 생각을 했어요. 그러니까 그런 면에서 어떤 때는 파인딩이 굉장히 재미있는 파인딩도 있지만 어떤 때는 너무 커먼 센스컬한 거를 괜히 아카데믹하게 포장해서 굉장히 스칼러릭하게 표현을 해가지고 하는데 그걸 보고서는 야 이거 좀 지겹다. 이런 생각이 들었어요. 들고 그러다 보니까 투어리즘 쪽에서 스터디를 하다 보면 왜냐하면 첫 번째 내가 여행하는 걸 좋아하고 내가 막 익스피리언스하고 내가 고민한 거를 그거 스터디에다 집어넣고 막 내 스스로 테스트해 보는 거예요. 데이터를 가지고 테스트 해보고 그리고 나서 야 이게 그렇기 때문에 지금 투어리즘 인더스트리가 트렌드가 이런 쪽으로 가고 있는 거구나. 야 그런데 여기에다가 이런 거를 더 하면 이쪽이 훨씬 더 좋아질 것 같다. 왜냐하면 내가 IT 백그라운드가 있기 때문에 테크놀로지 상으로는 이쪽으로 이렇게 해가지고 하면은 투어리즘 쪽에서 훨씬 많은 베네핏이 있을 것 같다. 이런 것들이 막 내 스스로는 굉장히 거기에 더 익사이팅한 거예요. IT 스터디는 아직도 해요. 아웃소싱도 아직도 하고 세큐리티, 사이버 세큐리티 스터디도 하고, 헬스케어 애널리틱스도 하고, 심지어는 요즘에 그 서플라이 체인의 그 리질리언스가 굉장히 문제가 돼가지고 서플라이 체인의 공급망에 지금 문제가 생겨서 가격이 다 올라가잖아요. 그러니까 우리 그 팀의 서플라이 체인 리질리언스로 스터디하는 팀이 있어가지고 그 팀이 자꾸 조인하자고 그러는데 뭐 마지못해서 이제 주니어 패컬티가 이제 인바이트 하니까 노는 못하겠고 이제 하는데 실은 그거보다는 제가 아까 얘기한 것처럼 새로운 테크놀로지가 나와서 그게 얼마만큼 투어리스트의 니드와 잘 만나서 그게 어떤 효과를 발휘해서 하는지. 왜냐하면 내가 지금 그걸 이용하기 때문에, 내가 이용할 거기 때문에, 내가 홋카이도 가기 전에 많은 버추얼 리얼리티 프로그램을 가져와서 익스피리언스 해보고 싶기 때문에 거기서 내가 뭘 찾았고 그래서 가서 내가 실제적으로 거기 갔을 때 뭐가 좋은 점이 있고 뭐가 나쁜 점이 있어. 막 경험을 해보고 내 스스로 테스트해보고 그거를 theorize 시켜보고 그것이 많은 사람들이 공감을 산다면 내 페이퍼를 가지고 future extended study를 많이 할 것이고 뭐 그런 면에서는 더 재미있어요. 하지만 또 하나 더 재밌는 거는 우리 IS 쪽의 컨퍼런스는 굉장히 보링하고 보링한 CD에서 하는데 투어리즘 쪽의 그 컨퍼런스와 그 로케이션은 아주 진짜 매일 가보고 싶은 그런 데야. 우리 쪽은 아주 보링해. 12월에 아주 추운 데서만 해. 가기 싫은데 어쩔 수 없이 가야 돼. 뭐 이 정도로.
자,
하여튼 부러워요. 여러분들은 투어리즘 쪽에서 저기 리서치를 하고 스터디를 하는 걸 보니까 내가 미리감치 그쪽으로 갔어야 되는데.
지금 오셔서 지금 새로운 컨커링을 하고 계시다는 걸 알고 계시지 않습니까? 이 페이퍼가 말을 해주고 계시니까. 네. 자, 그 혹시 학생들 중에 one last question 있나요? 있으면 한번 듣고 끝내도록 하겠습니다. 네.
선생님, 그럼 제가 해도 될까요? 네.
어디 날씨 많이 읽으신 분이네.
제가 이제 초보 연구자로서 이제 데이터 아무래도 이제 구조방 정식을 활용해서 굉장히 많이 연구를 진행을 하고 있는데 이제 제가 설문 설계를 많이 해보지 않고 이제 하려고 하니 이게 굉장히 생각보다 너무 어렵더라고요. 그러니까 그 당시에는 설문 설계를 할 때는 이제 잘 몰랐다가 데이터를 막상 모아서 이제 그거를 이제 매저먼트 모델부터 이제 패스 모델까지 돌려보는 와중에 이제 뭔가 데이터 컬렉션에서 뭔가 이런 뭐 밸리디티나 이런 게 좀 떨어질 수 있다 이런 거를 좀 많이 경험을 했고 그래서 이제 서베이 설계부터 해가지고 이런 걸 좀 다 꼼꼼히 해야겠다는 생각을 많이 했는데 교수님 논문을 보면 이게 서베이 연구임에도 불구하고 이제 데이터 퀄리티가 굉장히 좋게 많이 이제 좋게 나오는 경우도 있고 혹은 꼭 이런 리커트 척도가 아니라 이제 노미널 그 명목 척도 같은 걸 이용하시는 것도 약간 하나의 어떤 방법으로 쓰시는 것 같은데 그게 맞은지 좀 여쭤보고 싶고 그 다음에 어쨌든 데이터 퀄리티를 좀 좋게 하려면 연구자가 어떤 식으로 좀 이런 서베이 설계부터 할 수 있는지 혹시 노하우 같은 게 있으시면 좀 알려주시면 감사드리겠습니다.
네, 예. 아주 보석 같은 질문이네요. 박사과정 학생으로서는 굉장히 고민해야 될 부분인데 실은 그 불행히도 박사과정 때는 잘 못 느끼는 부분이에요. 지금 이제 데이터 컬렉션을 한번 해봤고 와가지고 그를 결과를 돌리고 논문을 쓰다가 보면 느끼는 것이 뭐냐면 처음에 디자인할 때 좀 더 잘했어야 되는데 좀 더 많이 페이퍼를 많이 읽었어야 되는데 좀 더 많은 사람과 크로스 체킹해서 디자인했어야 되는데 그리고 온라인 선문지 만들 때도 좀 더 많은 신경을 쓰고 고민을 하고 깊게 생각을 해서 컨스트럭도 만들고 아이템도 만들고 했어야 되는데 이런 생각을 하게 돼요. 왜냐하면 실제적으로 다 컬렉션 해가지고 하다 보면 결과가 안 나와. 내가 이거로 지금 한 2년을 전문 용어로 그 학구적인 용어로 팽이 쳤는데 근데 안 나오는 거예요. 열받아요. 그러다 보면 이거 처음부터 디자인부터 잘해야 되는구나. 스터디는 디자인이 굉장히 중요하구나. 그런 얘기를 해요. 어제도 제가 그 MSQ 그 에디토리얼 그 보드 팀이 워크숍 하는 게 있어서 거기 코주얼리티에 대한 워크숍을 한다고 그래서 이제 거길 들어가서 했는데 거기에서는 주니어 패컬티들이 많은 질문을 하는데 나중에는 at the end of the day에 데이터를 다 컬렉하고 어떤 때는 결과가 잘 안 나올 때도 있어요. 아마 그 연구를 찾아보면은 그게 난 왜 퍼블리시 됐는지 모르지만 퍼블리시가 됐는데 그 가설이 하나도 서포트가 안 됐는데 퍼블리시가 됐어요. 그런 건 왜 그러냐면 일단은 리서치 퀘스천이 굉장히 인터레스팅한 리서치 퀘스천이고 데이터를 콜렉션하는 과정에 있어서 그 리서치 퀘스천하고 정말 온라인이 잘 되게 데이터를 콜렉션을 한 거예요. 근데 불행히도 결과가 서포트가 안 된 거예요. 근데 에디토리얼 보드 팀에서는 그 리서치 퀘스천의 중요성과 그리고 그거의 임플리케이션을 알고 있기 때문에 또 그 디자인이 굉장히 아카데믹하게 배울 점이 많기 때문에 그 페이퍼가 퍼블리시가 됐다고 생각을 해요. 그런 것처럼 처음에 시작할 때 리서치 퀘스천을 아주 잘 잡아야 돼. 다시 얘기해서 타픽을 아주 잘 잡아야 되는데 그 타픽을 잘 잡으려면 뭘 해야 되느냐? 리터러처 리뷰를 아주 많이 해야 돼. 깊게. 투어리즘뿐만이 아니고 이게 사이콜로지컬한 게 들어가 있으면 사이콜로지에 있는 쪽에 걸 다 들어와야 돼. 거기 거를 웬만한 거 다 읽어야 돼요. 이게 인포메이션 시스템이 조금이라도 관련돼 있다 그러면 인포메이션 시스템에 이거에 관련된 논문들이 다 읽어야 돼. 그냥 읽는다는 게 아니고 그거를 잘 소화시켜서 무슨 얘기구나. 그러면 이것이 다 들어와 가지고 그쪽에서 거짓말한 건 없을 거란 말이에요. 거기도 나름대로 다 베딩을 하고 정확하게 리거러스하게 다 검색을 해서 검열을 해가지고 퍼블리시가 됐는데 특히 탑저널 같은 경우에는 그런 데서 나온 게 있으면 분명히 내가 데이터를 구하면 똑같은 현상이 일어날 거라고 거의 99%는 믿어도 된다고요. 그러면 그런 것들이 있을 때 내가 내 스터디를 디자인할 때 거기에 맞게 어떤 리서치 퀘스천을 집어넣어 줘야 되는지 그리고 그래서 어떻게 디자인을 해야 되고 어떤 데이터를 구해야 되고 이게 만약에 서베이면은 어떤 컨스트럭을 써야 되고 하는 것들을 감을 잡을 수가 있어요. 그렇게 해가지고 나오면 아마 그렇게 해가지고 깊게 토픽 어널리시스 해가지고 퀘스천을 잡아내고 디자인을 여러 가지 스터디 했던 것들을 잘 모방을 해가지고 했다면 그러면 그 데이터셋 가지고는 아마 페이퍼가 몇 개가 나와야 될 거예요. 나와야 된다고 봐요, 나는. 그게. 그 정도로 깊게 생각을 했는데.
네. 시간이 올해 12시까지라 예,
네.
뭐
감사합니다.
이 정도로 질문에 대한 답변을 마무리 짓는 걸로 하겠습니다. 사실 그 지금 이혜린 학생이 질문한 거는 여러분들 논문을 써본 사람만이 질문을 할 수 있는 질문이에요. 그 논문을 아직 시작하지 않으면 그게 무슨 말인지 잘 모를 거기 때문에 예. 자, 오늘 그 우리 구자현 교수님께서 아주 뭐 여행과 관련된 전반적인 얘기와 그 중요한 토픽과 사람들이 가져야 될 그 갖는 뭐 퀘스천과 그거를 잘 녹여내셔서 실제 아카데믹 논문 페이퍼로도 만드셨어요. 그래서 참 어느 프레젠테이션보다 더 정말 이해가 아주 잘 됐고 어떻게 현상을 잡아내서 연구화 시킬 것인지도 보여주셨습니다. 아주 그 대단한 프레젠테이션이었고 이번 그 프레젠테이션으로 여러분들이 하다가 이제 질문이 있거나 하면 또 자연 교수님께서는 항상 또 친절하게 답변을 해주시니까 질문 있으신 분은 또 질문을 해주시고 이메일로 그렇게 하시면 될 것 같습니다. 자, 2시간 동안 강연 너무 감사드리고 재밌었습니다. 자, 늦은 밤이실 텐데 거기 몇 시인가요?
지금 11시가 조금 넘었네요.
그러세요? 푹 쉬시고요.
네.
네, 감사합니다. 네.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me and thank you.